Let's learn about Newton's third law. It states every action force has an equal and opposite reaction force, and the reaction force is equal and opposite to the action force. So what does that mean? Let's take an example of someone pushing on a wall with a force of 20 newtons, since force is measured in newtons, and the wall is here. That means, according to the law, the wall will exert a force on the person pushing on it, opposite to the direction of the force, and the same magnitude. There's equal forces. That's what Newton's law states. It's equal and opposite, the reaction force. So where can we see this force happening in our everyday lives? Let's say we have a box sitting let's say we have a box sitting on the ground, and here's the ground. So the box is experiencing a force of gravity, which is acting downward. And that's the force of gravity is called weight. So we have that force downward caused by gravity. And what's causing the box not just to keep falling? It's the force of the surface. The ground is pushing back up on the box with an equal and opposite magnitude known as the normal force. So these two forces are forces that are equal and opposite. And that's an example of Newton's third law in our everyday lives. Let's say you have your textbook sitting on your table. Your textbook and it's sitting on your table. Your textbook is experiencing a force downward, which is its weight, or the weight is caused from gravity. And the table is pushing back up on the textbook, and that's the normal force. When a surface pushes back up on an object and the force is caused by gravity, that's called the normal force. That's why we call it normal force. The action and reaction forces can't act on the same object. Like you can see here, where the person is pushing against the wall and the wall is pushing back. The person pushes on the wall and the wall pushes on the person. They're both acting on the opposite object. Here, the box is pushing on the floor and the floor is pushing on the box. The textbook is pushing on the table is pushing on the textbook. When you fire a cannon, this is just another example of Newton's third law. Let's say this is our cannon, and it fires, and it fires the ball. So that means that the cannon pushes the ball with a force, let's say 100 newtons. That means the cannon would have to go back 100 newtons. That's why the cannon has wheels. Because whenever a cannon fires a large object, there's always some recoil. The cannon thuds back a little bit. So that's an example of Newton's third law, the equal and opposite reaction force. And one last example. Let's say we have a balloon and you let go of it and there's nothing to tie it. So that the balloon, the air from inside the balloon is pushing this way with a force. And the reason why the balloon keeps flying off, it flies off, is because the equal and opposite force causes the balloon to fly off with the same force F. And that is another example of Newton's third law. As you can see, Newton's third law is very evident in our everyday lives. Thank you for watching.